Oh, welcome back. Yes, we have a beautiful book called If Dominican Were a Color, and it's going to help us learn how to draft a TDA in one day. All right, we're also going to review parts of the TDA today, so this ain't the only part of the lesson, but it's an important piece. All right, this is a text that we are going to look at really closely. So let's go ahead and get into it. Ooh, so I'm going to switch to a highlighter, get my mustard yellow cooking, and look at the essential question. How does society influence identity and experience? Well, society, I got that seems like an important word there. Identity seems important, and experience. And that word influence seems important too. I'm going to give that a little shape around it. There we are. So, what seems to connect with these terms in this word cloud? Well, I see Dominican, definitely a type of society. Culture, definitely has to do with society. I see colors. Ooh, that might have to do with an experience of something. Um, Grandmas, maybe that has to do with identity, right? We're often shaped by those around us, our identities are. Switch over to orange for me, real quick, and put a little dot by identity, experience, society, and influence. And I'd like you to take about 20 seconds to highlight some words that you think connect with society, influence, identity, or experience. Take the time now. Nice work. So grab this red dot and follow along with me, please. Prompt: a conditional sentence, if and then. Ask the question, what if? Analyze the use of conditional sentences in If Dominican Were a Color and use evidence from the text to support your answer. Please find two important words in this prompt and put the red dots on top of them. Do that now, please. Oh, yeah. So, as we get into this book today, I'm not going to read it. I have an annoying voice, but I'm going to let somebody else do the honors. Let's get through this story real quick.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Sankofa Read Aloud. Today's story is titled If Dominican Were a Color. Written by Silly Recio, illustrated by Brianna McCarthy. I hope that you enjoy this amazing story. If Dominican were a color, it would be the sunset in the sky, blazing red and burning bright. The shade of cinnamon in your cocoa, the drums beating so fast they drive you loco. My grandma's mahogany skin, honey brown eyes, my other grandma's yellow tint, just like mine. If Dominican were a color, it would be the shades of orange and the sunrise's hue, the Haitian black on my Dominican back. The deep green tints that carry the palm tree shades, the memories in your head that never fade, the neutral browns that color our lips, the cafe con leche that everyone sips. If Dominican were a color, it'd be the merengue hips, swaying when I walk, the chatter of neighbors strutting as they talk. It be the way my words shape in my mouth, the color they might not know in the South. It would be the hopscotch from my Nunez and counting jacks from 1 to 10. It'd be the curls and kinks that blend my hair, the color of charcoal mixed with the sun's glare. If Dominican were a color, it'd be the roar of the ocean in the deep of night, with the moon beaming down rays of sheer delight. It'd be the blue-black you only see in a dream. It'd be the maze coming up Amarillo with green. There wouldn't be a palette that could hold it all. It's the season put together, summer, winter, spring, and fall.
Ooh, fantastic. So, as we go through, I'm going to do a quick bottom to top annotation. It's going to be quick. So, we're going to start by looking at the prompt, right? Which is check mark is for, which is what connects to today's learning target? Well, if it's learning how to TDA and the TDA is all about conditional sentences, we're looking for conditional sentences, right? So, I don't see any here. I don't see any here. I do see one here. It starts with if. Now that's a conditional sentence. Here, nope, nope, nope. Yup, I see a conditional sentence here. If Dominican were a color, check mark. Nope, nope. Oh, I see one here. There's a check mark. Nope, nope. Yes, and here's the beginning of the story. It begins with that if. Now we might go through and think about some connections that we see. For instance, I see a sunrise or a sunset, and I see sunset in the text there, right? Here I see a shade of cinnamon in your cocoa, shade meaning color, and the drums beating so fast they drive you loco. I see the color of the shade of cinnamon in your cocoa right there. So I'm matching the text with the picture in this case. Here it looks like there's two grandmas. The one grandma has mahogany skin, the other grandma has a yellow tint in the eye. Oh, vice versa, maybe with the yellow tint. Okay, wait, I'll put it in between. Get them both. Here it looks like there's a little bit of geography, so I might not know where Haiti is in relationship to the DR. I will learn soon for sure because it's connected right there. Just look at the map. All right. I also see some connections between, if Dominican, it would be a shade of orange. There's the orange right there, and there's the orange right there. Boom. More connections, right? The green tints that come into the memories, so the memories of nature. Ooh, I love it. Oh, looks like cafe con leche. I'm guessing that's what's in that cup there. Oh, this seems like an important page because they're mentioning music in both. They mention the merengue here and they mention chatter here, right? So it's definitely a type of audio page. Here, it looks like the word shape the color they might not know in the South. So it looks like they're waving hello to someone who might be less familiar with them. Hello, hello. Here, it looks like they're playing jacks. There's a connection there. Ooh, I love this one. The different combinations and different hairstyles. Ooh, I love it. See a connection there. It looks like there's a connection between the moon beaming down on the water. Here we have the maze. And we have the maze here. And there's different seasons. I noticed that there's like a summer here and maybe like a cold winter's night here. I think it's supposed to signify that, the different shades of night and day. And then I've got my connections. Now, I haven't had a chance to go through with my questions. That I'll leave to you. And I haven't come to the parts that I think that are important, right? Like the word palette, for instance, seems very important to this story. So I have a chance to go through and annotate. If you haven't annotated the whole story, now is the time. Please take care of your connections, what's important, your big ideas and questions. Go ahead. All right. Now, let's go ahead and start thinking about the prompt. A conditional sentence, if and then, ask the questions, what if? Analyze the use of conditional sentence and if Dominican were a color and use evidence from the past. So, as I went through the story, I noticed that the conditional sentences compared vibrant Dominican culture to, and I remember them mentioning things like cuisine, mentioning things like color, mentioning things like sound. So if that's going to be my answer to what is being asked of me in the prompt, I'll make sure that my conclusion looks just like that because they should always match. And then I know that each of these is going to be about a conditional sentence. Right? But maybe this one might be about color. And then maybe this one will be about sound. And maybe this one will be about cuisine. So I've got my TDA all planned out. My thesis, I know what my three body paragraphs will be about. Of course, I went back into the story and I'll find some quotes to go with it, but let's look at an example of one all together. All right, take a look. Before you do, though, make sure that your outline looks just like this. Nice work. So let's knock this out together, too. We've got our highlighter, and let's start with mustard yellow, and let's get some of the important terms that we remember from the beginning of this at the prompt here at the top. Conditional sentence. If, and then. Ask the question, what if? So there's if twice. Analyze the use of conditional sentences. There it is again in if Dominican were a color. So the use of the conditional sentence in if Dominican were a color is to help the reader understand how vibrant Dominican culture is through color. So we've got color, which was already mentioned in the title. We've got Dominican, which is mentioned in the title, and it says what they're using the conditional sentences for. And here's a reminder of what conditional sentences are. So I'm going to put a little yellow box around there and make all that match. Okay. Now, as it goes on, it says the book opens. So this is the book opening. So I'm going to go to blue, and this is something called the context. This is something called the context, an important word for this year. So I'm going to put a blue box around this particular picture because that's the opening of the book. And they mentioned the sunset there. Oh, there's the sunset here. It focuses on color. And then it goes on to talk about cinnamon and cocoa, and each page has a different comparison and matching colorful artwork, right? A comparison of what the ocean looks like with the moon beaming down on it. Okay, that's the colorful artwork that we see. And one especially vivid page reads, oh, and vivid is a color word, so I'm going to get that one too. But not just that, it's in the topic sentence too, so I'm going to put a little yellow block around it too. Reads, it'd be the maze coming up with Amarillo green. It'd be the blue black you can only see in a dream. Let's switch over to green and look, this is the page itself. And it looks like they got the quote right from the top there. So I want you to highlight that too, because I want you to see that the quote from the text is going into the paragraph, right? Highlight this whole paragraph here, please. Oh, yeah. You get that whole thing green because that's a quote. You can't have a TDA without some quotes proving your points. Perfect. So now the job is, and I'm going to switch to orange for this one, is to explain the quote. Let's see if they do that. This rainbow comparison of the Dominican Republic to these colors shows how vibrant the culture is, right? Well, I see the picture of the Dominican Republic there, and I see DR right there. If, oh, I got a conditional sentence right here. If there were no comparisons to corn or dreamlike blacks and blues, comma, then, if and then, the reader would not be able to access the joyous DR culture, right? And there's the people celebrating in the town there. It's joyous. So I'm going to highlight joyous DR there too, and culture. The DR's culture is shown to be important and special in this book. And notice here that it talks about the reader. Put a dot on each side of the reader, please. And then you can put a dot on the reader, right? It looks like the teacher on the step here. But you can also put a dot on each of the children's faces because those are the readers as well, right? So they've really analyzed it. They thought about the experience of the story itself. So that's what I'm looking for when I ask for a TDA. I'm looking for 5 paragraphs, one that is a thesis, a body paragraph 1. I just showed you an example of that. That was about color, right? Body paragraph 2 would go on to talk about sound, and then body paragraph 3 would go on to talk about cuisine, and then the conclusion would look very similar to the thesis. And that's basically what the TDA is. Now, hopefully you had time to give this a shot, but I wanted to give you that outline, what it's like to cook a text all in one go, and we were able to get it done pretty darn quick. We were able to get it done in a woo-hoo-hoo, almost under 15. Let's go.